If you are keen to learn English but don't have an English-speaking environment around you, what can you do? Living in a small town in my home country, I faced the challenging of learning English without a language environment. It often meant setting aside time to memorize vocabulary and study grammar, with no one around to converse in English. This made applying what I learned difficult, leading to a fragmented and frustrating learning experience. So, what's the solution? I pondered over this problem quite early on. I believe that to effectively learn English, you need to integrate listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Otherwise, you might excel in one area but feel short in another. For instance, you might be great at written exercises but struggle with spoken English. Such learning process is incomplete as you are unable to fully utilize your English skills. Therefore, I've tried various methods to create language environment for myself, allowing me to immerse in English learning even in my small hometown. Now, I'd like to share with you how I managed to create this environment for myself, focusing on 4 key aspects: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Listening. Many people say they have studied English for years but still can't understand what foreigners are saying. The main reason is that we listen too little. Often, our English learning materials are limited to tutorials and textbooks, which is far from sufficient. Therefore, once you have mastered a certain level of vocabulary, say around 5,000 words, you should start exposing yourself to real-life materials as much as possible. For instance, you can explore English podcasts starting with topics you're enjoying, rather than forcing yourself to listen to English learning programs. These programs might not always align with your interests. For example, if you're not into news, listening to English news channels daily won't be beneficial. When I first started listening to podcasts, I chose channels about personal growth, book discussions, travel, and lifestyle. It's okay if you don't understand everything at the beginning. The key is to persist and tune your ears to the language daily. You might also consider channels that mix Chinese and English. I used to enjoy listening to 露露的英文小酒馆. This podcast intersperses Chinese with English. Lulu, a Chinese host with excellent English, explains difficult sentences and vocabulary in Chinese. Her speaking pace is not too fast, making it ideal for beginners. Try to integrate listening into your daily routine. For instance, while brushing your teeth in the morning, commuting on the subway, during your lunch break, on your way home from work, while showering, or before bed. Seize every opportunity to listen to English, pretending you are living in an all-English environment. American TV shows. If you are a fan of binging watching TV series, consider switching to American TV shows. Initially, you might find it challenging to understand, so start by watching the episode in Chinese first, and then re-watch it in English. Once you have a basic understanding of the plot, watching with English subtitles will quickly help you grasp the meanings. A strong recommendation for learning English through American TV shows is to avoid bilingual subtitles, because it's easy to focus on the Chinese subtitles inadvertently, and before you know it, you are fully immersed in the plot described in Chinese, forgetting that you are supposed to be learning English. Therefore, it's more effective to watch the Chinese version first, and then switch to the purely English version of the show. Speaking. When it comes to speaking, the key is to practice expressing yourself as much as possible. There is a common misconception that you need to have a perfect grammar and vocabulary before you can start speaking English. However, that's not the case. In fact, speaking should be practiced concurrently from the beginning of your learning journey. For instance, with a vocabulary of about 3,000 to 5,000 words and a grasp of basic grammar, you can start speaking English. Everyday topics like shopping, ordering food, and traveling don't require the advanced level of language proficiency. There are numerous ways to practice speaking nowadays. Firstly, there is a method of shadowing and imitation to train your mouth muscles. For example, when you are listening to the radio or watching American TV shows, try to repeat after the speakers. Don't worry about being perfect. Just follow along. With more practice, your pronunciation will naturally improve. Listening and speaking are inherently connected. Sometimes you might not understand spoken words because the pronunciation in your memory differs from the actual pronunciation. You might recognize a word in writing but fail to identify it when it's spoken because you learned its pronunciation incorrectly. If you can't pronounce it correctly, you might not understand it when you hear it. But if you can understand it, you are more likely to pronounce it correctly. That is why it's crucial to use real-life materials for learning and to combine listening and speaking. Chatting with native speakers. As your English skills improve and you seek to enhance your spoken English, you can also engage in conversations with native speakers on various online language learning platforms. Chatting with foreign tutor once or twice a week is highly beneficial. When chatting with native speaker, firstly, since they don't speak Chinese, you're compelled to communicate in English. This might make you nervous, but a bit of nervousness can actually enhance coordination between your body and brain, leading to surprisingly fluent English. Secondly, as they are native speakers, their pronunciation and intonation are natural and authentic. By conversing with them, you will unconsciously start to mimic their way of speaking, making your own spoken English more authentic and native-like. Practicing conversation with AI. If you feel hesitant about interacting with foreigners, practicing with AI is a great alternative. Here, I want to share an interesting tool named TalkMe, which has made my journey of practicing spoken English both easy and enjoyable, while simultaneously strengthening my English knowledge. TalkMe primarily helps you learn English through a gamified experience. Every day, it arranges a real-life scenario for you to practice. By familiarizing yourself with the vocabulary and sentence structures in advance, you can practice shadowing and pronunciation in this part. Then you move on to a role-playing game where, by interacting with AI characters, you are guided to express what you have just learned, enabling you to master English expressions almost without realizing it. Moreover, you can freely discuss a range of topics with the AI chatbot. Before starting, you can select the AI's accent and personality. You have the option to either tap or use voice to communicate. What I love most is that regardless of how you interact, it provides a feedback, corrects your grammar, suggests better expressions, richer spoken English, and demonstrates standard pronunciation. This can be even more effective than interacting with real people, as it allows you to correct your mistakes after each conversation. Plus, it's available anytime, so you can start learning English with the AI whenever you want. For those interested, you can click the link I have shared in the description box and register using my referral code to enjoy 52% off for a yearly plan. Reading. Set all your electronic devices, your phone, computer, iPad to English. We use these devices so frequently that the English words and phrases they contain are among the easiest to remember. If you can't remember the English terms used in your phone's interface, it'll be even harder to remember the words you occasionally memorize from the vocabulary book. Label everyday items with English tags. Place English labels on the frequently used items such as caps, calendars, desk lamps, skincare products, etc. When you use these items, you will see their English names, reinforcing your learning through repetition. This method creates subtle yet effective impact, gradually incorporating English into your daily life. English books and international news sources. Imagine you are living abroad and adapt your media consumption accordingly. Swipe scrolling through Weibo for Twitter. Replace watching videos on domestic platforms with YouTube. and switch from reading books in Chinese to English. Whenever you encounter words or phrases you don't understand, look them up in the dictionary and make sure you understand them. This immersive approach can significantly enhance your English proficiency by integrating it into various aspects of your daily life, combining with your interests and hobbies. For example, I'm a big fan of The Sims. Once, when I encountered a problem with my game and couldn't find a solution, I joined the Sim Facebook group and I observed the people discussing the game in English. Since I was highly concerned about my game issue, I was very interested in reading these discussions and motivated to decipher parts I didn't understand. This way, you'll not only improve your English skills, but also enjoy your hobby, integrating language learning with personal interests. Makes the process more engaging and effective. Writing. At this point, have you noticed that the key is to find your motivation to use English? Is it to solve a problem, discuss interests, make new friends, or travel the world? Everyone has areas where English can be beneficial. If you feel you have learned English but can't think of where to apply it, then it's actually hard to master it. So think about how you can integrate English into your real life. For English writing, what scenarios come to mind? For instance, you could write a diary in English and use ChatGPT to check your grammar. You could also write book reviews or about any topics that interests you and share this on English platforms to make friends through your writing. For example, why do I choose to make videos in English? Because I want to enhance my English expression skills. So I translate my scripts into English and try to share knowledge in English. These are all effective practice methods. The key isn't just to follow my methods rigidly, but to open your mind and integrate English into your environment based on your interests and hobbies. That way, you'll undoubtedly learn English effectively. That's all for today's video. See you next time. Bye.